and welcome everybody to the Darker Side Podcast. I'm Nick Dodge, your host, and I'm a part of. We have three filmmakers, essentially. Three filmmakers working on this podcast. I'm a part of Nick Dodge Film and Photography. Pretty basic.
Yep.
With me today, I have Hassel, my co-host.
Yep. Part of Ace Luetta Productions.
Wonderful.
My personal production company.
And what do you do?
I do documentaries, like small business videos, that kind of stuff. We film parties, that kind of stuff.
I gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and as far as I'm concerned, I do some documentaries and short like news filler things too,
Yeah.
but I also have over half a decade on the local music scene,
Yeah.
filming and photographing local bands.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, we have Kevin Pineda
Kevin Pineda.
in the back working the TriCaster and all the hardware, I guess,
Yep.
back there. And he is a part of Post-Apocalyptic Productions. That's until he tells me otherwise. So, everybody, welcome. This is kind of a preview episode, kind of give you a taste of what's to come. The Darker Side Podcast, you can become a subscriber for $3 a month. And what that gets you is a shout out at the end of every episode that we do, as well as the actual video content itself.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm going to create shortened versions just for the general audience. But if you want the full experience, be sure to go on to our Patreon page at patreon.com/darkersideproductions. That's patreon.com/darkersideproductions. And we have so much content coming up.
Oh, yeah.
Can you tell us, Hassel, what this podcast is about?
Well, the first thing that we're going to be doing is talking about music, the local music.
Local music scene.
And like heavy metal, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, metal, rock,
Uh-huh.
punk.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that kind of general genre.
Yeah.
We got we're going to be talking about horror movies.
Horror movies. Ooh.
Yeah.
But what else? What else aside from horror movies? We also have horror literature.
Horror literature.
And then anything else
that has to do with horror.
Yeah.
Yep.
Anything that keeps you up at 3 a.m., right?
Yeah.
Basically.
Uh-huh.
And then final thing.
Well, my favorite thing.
Oh yeah.
My favorite thing. The
Oh.
paranormal. Who doesn't love the
paranormal, yes.
paranormal scene?
We're gonna because Colorado is so full of this dark underground history.
Yeah.
Right. And there's so many ghost stories to tell. There's so many notable places, such as the Stanley Hotel up in
Mhm.
Estes, such as Third Bridge.
Yeah.
Everybody in Colorado who's at least a native knows what Third Bridge is.
Or Estes Park.
Right. And for those that don't, because we have a lot of newcomers, right? By
Yeah.
newcomers, I mean Californians, Texans, New Mexicans. These people might not have a single clue. And even Colorado natives sometimes don't know about these horror stories, and we're
Yeah.
going to tell some of them. And in fact, April 2nd, our debut pilot episode, first off, is going to be free for everybody to watch.
Yeah.
So you won't have to be a subscriber through our Patreon to actually watch
Mhm.
that episode. We want to give that away.
Yeah.
You
just to get you guys to know who we are
Yeah.
in a way.
I think that's the biggest thing. I think that's the best thing we can do is
Mhm.
kind of introduce
Exposure.
ourselves. Yeah. Exposure.
Yeah, exposure.
Enough said. But the first episode, we have a lot of things going on. I went to Central City and I visited the Knights of Pythias. Yeah,
Mhm.
I got that word down now. The
Yeah,
Knights.
finally.
I know, it took a week.
Yeah.
But me and my lady visited the Knights of Pythias Cemetery, and the weather there and the trip there, and I got a ton of great footage, a lot of beautiful footage of everything, and I can't wait to share that with everybody. But I also had a ghostly encounter, not at the actual cemetery, which has a story in its own right, which
Yeah.
I'll also touch on.
I'm
But
really excited to hear about that. You've
Yeah.
been holding it.
I know.
Holding it in.
I've been holding it in because I want it to be a big surprise.
Yep.
But I feel like you're going to be like immensely disappointed once I tell
That's
it. Yeah. But I had a ghostly encounter at the Nicky Lee Mansion, this old Victorian mansion built in, I almost want to say the late 1800s, but it might have been like 1920 or something. But
Yeah.
I think it goes back to the 1800s because there's stories of slaves and slave owners and such
Yeah.
that are involved in it. And I had some spooky stuff happen to me my first night there. So I'll be sure to talk about that. But we should also talk about our first guest. And first off, we're going to have a guest on the show every week, right?
Yeah.
And what kind of guests are we going to have on the show?
Well, we're going to be having guests from bands, writers, filmographers, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. And I have at least 3 local bands, members from 3 local bands lined up on April 2nd, our debut episode. I have the guitarist from Ghost of Glaciers. Sorry, buddy. Sometimes it happens. I have the guitarist from Ghost of Glaciers coming onto the set with us.
Yeah.
He's going to be speaking about the music scene and such. And for those that don't know, Ghost of Glaciers is a progressive post-doom metal act.
Yeah.
Completely instrumental. I've been listening to them for about a year or so, but Hostel's brand new to them. And I think you kind of got into them, didn't you?
I like them, honestly. I mean, they kind of just like the instrumental part of it, and like I really like instrumental rock. I mean, It's really good. If it doesn't have vocals and you can sell it, then it's really good. Like Pink Floyd, like we just brought that up earlier.
Yeah. We were talking about Pink Floyd earlier.
Yeah, Pink Floyd. I mean, they do have some songs, a lot of their songs with lyrics, but some of their stuff is completely instrumental.
Yeah.
Like a few of their songs on the Animals album is instrumental. The ambient sounds, just the smooth rock, it just really goes sweet.
Yeah. And sometimes it leaves a much more emotional impact on the listener as well.
With just music.
Just music.
That's it.
But speaking of Ghosts of Glaciers, we're actually going to take a short break and give you a preview of their song Maelstrom. So hopefully you enjoy that. And when we return, we're going to talk a little bit more about the paranormal, and we're going to touch on an upcoming horror movie that we're going to deeply discuss on April 2nd. So everybody stay tuned. We'll see you in a bit. Wow. Incredible work, if I do say so myself.
Yep, that's the one I heard.
Yep. And
Really good.
I am so excited to have him on board with us this coming week. And I forgot to mention, I keep throwing out the date, April 2nd. April 2nd is next Monday.
Yep.
And, of course, this show happens every Monday morning. We usually get uploaded probably 11 o'clock, noon at the latest.
Mm-hmm.
And we have a guest on every show. You can subscribe, $3, not that much. That's a cup of coffee, everybody.
Yeah.
It's a cup of coffee.
It's not that much.
Yeah. Give us $1.
Yeah, just give us $1, man.
Whatever. But
just support us.
enough of the marketing garbage, okay? Because that's not what this podcast is about.
We gotta talk.
Yeah. We don't want to talk politics. We don't want
no
to
politics.
sell you so much. I mean,
we need a break from politics. I feel.
That's the thing. This show is kind of like your break.
Yeah.
Everybody dreads Monday morning. Let's bring it back. Let's energize it. Yeah.
Little fun, little talks.
Yeah. I want Monday to feel like Friday.
Yeah.
I know that's like an impossible task, right? But we're going to make it happen.
Of course.
And so I hope to visit more places and investigate the paranormal. And, of course, we had one in mind for a future date, right?
Estes Park.
Estes
Park.
Yeah.
Yep.
The trademark horror spot in Colorado.
What inspired The Shining.
Yes.
And Stephen King.
Everybody in the world knows that.
Yeah.
Right? It's like
we got to go there.
You can't get away from it.
We got to go there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Estes Park is definitely on the list. Third Bridge probably too, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I mentioned it, but I do have a few bands later in the month of April that will be joining us, members of those bands. And I also have a old friend who's a photographer.
Oh, really?
Yes, and he does incredible stuff, and I hope that I can actually feature some of his work through this podcast.
Yeah.
Have him bring it over, upload it, whatever works. Because I want to show other people what this guy does, because he is absolutely incredible at what he does.
Yeah.
And I feel like I'm going to be humbled in his presence when he comes here.
Yeah.
Like I said, he's an old friend. I trust the guy. I think he's going to bring a lot to the table as well.
Mm-hmm.
And then a movie that we're going to talk about April 2nd, horror movie. It's been getting fantastic reviews. It has like 100% on Rotten Tomatoes.
That's rare, especially for a horror movie.
So rare. And it has like 30 reviews already or something. What's the movie, Hustle?
A Quiet Place.
A Quiet Place.
Yep.
That's not this place.
No, not this place.
But yeah, it's so hard to find a decent horror movie.
Decent horror movie. I mean, I feel like they all died out after like the 90s.
After the 90s?
After the 90s. Like, I don't know. They started getting a little worse and worse and worse.
Yeah. They got cheesy, jump scares, all that kind of stuff. And there was a movie that came out last year, Get Out.
Yeah.
I saw it. I thought it was all right.
Mm.
The acting was good. The story was interesting. It had a decent twist.
Yeah.
Who's that guy that does all the twist? What's his name?
Hold on. I don't know. No.
M. Night Shyamalan.
Yeah.
That's the guy.
Uh-huh.
It's kind of like one of those twists, and you don't see it coming in. It's kind of
what
out there. Yeah. But overall, I thought it was a decent movie.
Yeah.
For a horror movie at the least. We should talk about old horror movies too.
Yeah, we should.
Like, you have any in mind?
Oh, my favorite one, The Shining. That is my all-time favorite horror movie. I mean, it's just so good. I mean, like, none of it's really jump scares. It's all like psychological in a sense.
Yeah. Well, anyhow, everybody, this has been a preview of the Darker Side podcast. You can find us on Patreon, patreon.com/darkersideproductions. Until then, we'll see you all next time.